I had an experience only 2 weeks ago. I was at the National Association for Schools of Dance conference, and I happened to go into one of the little snack shops to grab a Diet Coke or gum or something, and I was in there waiting in line, and there was this man that was in there. We just struck up a conversation. He said, well, why are you here? And I explained to him why I was there, and he said, oh, you're a dancer. And I started to respond, and then he said, or you used to be a dancer. But I said, well, once a dancer, always a dancer. And he said, oh, well, I know that, but, I'm an athlete, and I've just found that as you get older, you just can't do all of the things that you used to do. And that was our conversation.
The doctor basically said, you're done. You can't dance anymore. You can golf, or you can swim. There's things you can still do, but you can't dance anymore. I don't think he realized that it was who I was. It was my identity.
People will come up and be like, I can't believe you're 56. Because I dye my hair and I put makeup on. It's like, somebody's like, well, you could just let it go. And it's like, I don't think you don't see gray-haired women dancing on stage. There's a reason for that.
We really do have these unspoken kinds of attitudes and assumptions about aging that are so much a part of us that we don't question it. The damaging part is when we buy into that ourselves. Aging is an invisible phenomenon that everyone goes through. We all age, we all get old, and yet we don't see it oftentimes when it's right before us in someone else and the kinds of struggles that they're experiencing with it.
It's a tough time for me right now. It's the first time where it's like, I really feel it going away. Like before, it was like if I warmed up enough and practiced enough, it was like it was fine. And now it's like, no, I can't do what I want to do.
When your knees get to the point where you can't get to the ground gracefully, that was hard choreographically for people. I was like, could I just fall down? Could we choreograph a fall in here?
My legs weren't as strong as they used to be. I used to have really powerful, strong legs, and now they were getting kind of wimpy. So
I look at movement and say, how's that going to hurt me? What are the potential pitfalls there? And I am a smart dancer now.
I started teaching less and less technique, and sitting more and more is when my body started to make those changes.
I can't take 12 experiences to figure it out, because by the end of 12 of them, I will have hurt my knee, or my back will be out, or I'll be too tired. So it's like, no, I got to really get this thing now.
I always envisioned myself as a mover. I always thought that I was a dancer. I always thought I was in great shape. And I had an aha moment a few years ago where I thought, you can barely walk. You don't even go out and go for walks because you hurt so much. You're not in great shape.
I think as dancers, we are so aware of our bodies as our instruments of expression, and when those bodies start to age, it is not fun.
I was very caught up as a young person, and I think young people do. They get very caught up in the technique and how high, how fast, how far, all that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in that anymore.
It's like, oh, you little girl, you're picking him up. And of course, it was like, we'll make the smallest one pick that guy up because it'll really cement that women are strong.
We used to do these head flips or throw our heads around.
You danced long and hard, threw your leg in the air, and you jumped into the splits.
I was one of those dancers that didn't have to warm up. I had all the flexibility that I needed. I could, jump into choreography and never feel the effects of it.
I don't think that we necessarily knew any better.
I had gone to a physical therapist, and the guy's like, what are you doing? Because you got some weird things going on in the body. And he's like, well, I picked up this man, and we're doing this. And he's like, how big's that guy? And he's like, well, you're not really picking him up. What you're doing is locking your bones, and you're holding him. And he's like, and your bones are basically pressing on each other. And he's like, that's why you're hurt.
I am dealing with some degenerative conditions in my discs and my neck that I'm just sure are directly related to some of the choreography that I used to do. And I'm not the only one that's experiencing that. I have peers with me and they have neck issues as well.
There was no room for a woman who said, I can do these kinds of things, but I can't do that.
The thing I've been impressed, though, about dancers today is they do take care of themselves, and they have a lot of options on how to do that.
I think maybe that's one reason why I'm passionate about teaching students about correct practice and correct anatomy and function of the body so that hopefully they can avoid some of those things.
I have been able to recover from all of that, and I am now one of those old people that's playing pickleball, and it has given me my physical life back. And I'm not joking about that. I thought it was gone. I really had no connection to my physical side anymore. And now playing pickleball, I can do deep knee bends again. I can do the grand plie. And I love it, and it's given me the courage to think, okay, maybe I can put my toe back in a limited kind of way and find maybe a little bit of a dance life before I really call it quits.
I do see beautiful aging dancers who dance well into their 60s and 70s, and I think if you can take care of your body, you can dance as long as you want.
I don't think that I'm going to be, removed from performing, but the opportunities are becoming farther and farther and farther away.
If you start dancing when you're 3 or 4 and you think you're going to be a dancer, that's your identity. So to lose that as a performer was really, really hard.
I really believe that age is so relative to your attitude about it, and I know that that's an easy thing to say. It's not always an easy thing to live.
I don't know if there's going to be a period where we embrace the older dancer. Like, some people are going to be on this stage and they're 20 years younger than me and they're going to look really good, and I'm going to be next to them like, oh, there's that old lady. I will not go on stage and look bad. I will not go on stage and look untrained. I will not go on stage and have people say, oh, she used to be. Oh, I just won't do it. I won't do that. So it's been a real challenge to get that to deal with that.
That's a process, I think, that happens in aging. It's just that loss of confidence in yourself. I have gotten so that I'm not as interested in some of what's going on right now. It's kind of maybe bored me, or I feel like there needs to be something new to engage my interest.
I think as I shifted into an education focus and shifted into working with children, I started realizing that I'm much more interested in dance that involves all ages of people, all abilities of people, not the elitist idea.
I think your aesthetic and your sense of identity within that aesthetic as an artist becomes more crystallized and more substantive and grounded, that maybe you don't feel like you're flitting around trying different things as much as really being able to hone in on something that interests you, that you can stay with for a while and that you can find real meat in. I see that kind of maturing as an artist happening with age that I think is a lovely thing.
I am the living embodiment of that saying, youth is wasted on the young. I am such a better dancer now, except for the physicality. And that's really hit me this year. I think more clearly about dance. I understand more clearly the choreography and what the choreographer is asking. My ability to see what, because of the teaching, and then having to think about it and explain it to the student. This is what you're doing. And it's like, if I had known this 15 years ago, life would have been a lot different.
I am so much more interested in things of depth, and I love watching people access dance who never thought they could. And that's a place for people as they age. There is room for people when you look at dance in that way. There's room for everyone.
I do believe that I am one of those people that there isn't a separation between dance and my life, that it is dance.
I'm okay with where I am in the dance world. I'm okay with being able to still have voice about what happens with dance within my own sphere of influence, and I think I'm in a good place that way.
So now the transition is, some people make this. They say, I don't want to do it at all anymore. If I can't do it the way I want to do it, I'm not doing it. And other people find their path. And I think my inclination is more towards that. But it's a death. It's a death that, I just can't do these things anymore. And that's a challenge.
What I would like to do, as my life gives me a little more time from what I'm doing right now, I would really like to work with anybody who is interested in journaling and remembering and making dance from those interior memories that you have. When you make authentic dance that way, you do what you can do, and you'll look beautiful doing it. You don't have to do someone else's work. I think I'll stop now. Is there anything?